Welcome back to yet another episode of Break Your Barriers from the inner tribe of Salt and Pepper family and how they have and they are unleashing their story. Today, I have a women leader based out of Singapore, thriving and growing as a change expert, transformation expert, someone who is ahead of change delivery and transformation at Standard Chartered Bank for the last 12 years. At the same time, mother of three, a wonderful, wonderful women leader, a speaker today, even have been training teams. So let's invite Seetha Cristian on the show. Hey, Seetha.
Hello, it's nice to be back and talking to you, Kush. It's a pleasure,
Lovely.
always.
Likewise, Sita. I think it's been a very beautiful journey, but as I get into it, there's no point unless you tell a little bit about yourself. So, who are you? What you do? Tell the audience, and they get to know about you actually.
Um, my name is Seetha. I basically was leading the finance technology team. I look at project delivery as a whole, change management, as well as transformation that was added in my portfolio. I'm a mother of three. I've got three kids, 20, 16, and 13 now. So I've got my hand full, but nevertheless, and an avid person who likes to learn and explore. So that's who I am.
I can vouch for that for sure. Sita, just to reflect back and sharing what were your problems and challenges that you were facing before you became part of this inner tribe, Salt and Pepper family, and you got into this
Hmm.
whole journey.
Um, wow, if I really look at my journey back in history, right, it's well, it seems very far away, but the magnitude of things that has happened in the journey is really making me pause a little bit. But where I started, quite plainly, I was looking out for another job. That's where I started. And I was not happy with what I was doing, and I was feeling very lost. And at the same time, I just felt there was a void that I'm not filling. So that's how I started. And I started seeking, asking for answers. Why? Who I am. And that whole definition just got lost in the middle.
Who I am. So the urge of trying to uncover oneself, is that so?
Yes, it's uncovering myself, discovering about myself, and accepting at the end of the day.
Why was it even important for you to start this journey? I mean, what actually got you to get going?
I felt like I was sinking into a rut. Yeah. There was absolutely no way. It's like day to day I was dragging bones. It came to a point where I just felt totally miserable and everything became a complaint. I just don't want to feel that way ever again. I just don't want to. And it was very painful because I started seeing that in my family because they became stressed. Things became very heated. I was just losing my own personality. I became an imposter after that. It felt so fake and unreal. So I really wanted to just come out of that hole because if I didn't, I to be very frank, I don't know where I would have been if I didn't take that journey. So that's basically it.
Okay. And I remember we had our call and we spoke to each other, and there were a lot of things that we had touched upon that call. Though it's been a while, but I still have those, faint reflections and visions and stuff. But what was going on in your mind at that point of time when we were speaking? How long it did actually it took for you to take that action and decide that, yeah, okay, I want to take this leap, I want to take this journey, or I want to take this? How was that in your mind?
I guess, the various emotions that was running, I just explained a few minutes ago. Now, on top of that, I felt that, I didn't know where to go, whether it is left, right, should I study? Should I change my jobs? Should I actually open my own business? And I had so many fears just to take that one single step and decide, what if I fell down the hole? What's going to happen? It was so powerful at one point, and then that's when I met Chief. I met you, and I was to be very candid. I was like, what am I getting myself into? You know, I was like,
Yeah.
what on earth is this? And I had no idea. I mean, no absolute relationship from what I was feeling and why I was getting into it. But I told myself I needed um, an avenue where it was friendly, and not only that, it meant something, which means I'm starting to meet people. That was one step I wanted to take because I guess I was going very much into my own shell, so much
Hmm.
into my own shell. So that sort of made me take the leap. And when both of you spoke to me about it, I felt that now I want to come out of it. I want to come out of the shell, but it was freaking me out like anything. And I just took it, I just took it. I just said, no, I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to. At that point in time when I said yes, I did not expect any outcome. Just full stop. Nothing. I just wanted to come out with myself, something that I can do within my control. That means I can do right in front with my laptop itself. You know what I mean? As simple as single step as that. That's one of the main drivers that basically made me take this on. And the feeling of not knowing oneself, feeling lost, empty, um, and always questioning myself. Did that person say like this? Does it mean I'm not good enough? Continuously questioning myself was it's not a nice feeling, It started rotting the person I was. So it's one of the main reasons.
And Sita, I remember while we were talking, I also remember that you shared with me, um, I don't know, but yeah, somebody had mentioned that there's going to be effort that you had to put in the journey and
Mm,
you aren't very sure about it. So, one always goes through self-talk. So, I'm sure there would be some doubts that you would have had prior actually getting your money transferred, right?
mm,
Because
yep.
anyone who is really getting the money transferred from one account to another account, there comes the reality check. So, what was those self-talk and doubts that you had at that point of time?
I think one of it, as you rightly pointed out, it actually is going to take some work from me. And I'm already so overloaded, so tired. And then now on top of all of this, I need to do this. So this is one thought I had. And yes, my friend was one person who went into the journey, but she did say, why not? But she also said you need to be prepared to do the work. The other one that came to me is I'm already lost anyway. Will this get me lost even more? And then, why am I going? Why am I taking this? So that's another thing I was fighting with myself. So what's my aim? Am I doing sales? I don't like doing sales. I don't want to open my own business. So a lot of these thoughts were actually running through my head.
And finally, we saw you being a part of the inner tribe, and there was something that actually got you to be there and start with the journey. If I have to ask, what was that one thing that actually made you feel that, okay, I got to, that this is something I am attracted to, or this is something I need to get to? So, what was that one thing?
I wanted to change. I just wanted to break free. Whatever way, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to break free.
And you felt right about using this way, the one that you did at that point of time when we were connected over the call or we were talking and you were taking the decision.
Mhm. It sort of, okay, during our call, I sort of saw things sort of lining up on the table. And at the same time, I saw my reality. And at that point in time, I mean, to be frank, you asked me this question, do you really, really want it? Do you really
Yeah.
feel like doing it, right? Because it's no point lying to yourself and just coming for the sake of coming and then finally not doing anything about it. So I told myself, no. I do want to commit. And I felt, I mean, if I couldn't commit to anything else because everything else was too far of a reach for me, this felt a little closer, but I know I had to do some work. So I told myself, what do I want? I want to change, but I don't know what that change meant at that point. But I just wanted to change. So at that point in time, I took the risk and I took the leap. And I said, no, I'm going to trust my faith. I'm going to trust faith. And I took that leap.
And today we are sitting, and of course, we're talking about your journey. What was that unexpected things that came across you into the whole journey? What was the result or outcome that you saw during it?
I think the first and foremost I saw myself. That is something that I finally realized, okay, this is what I am. It was a hard reality for me, to be frank. And quite honestly, it threw me off balance because I was always pointing outside. So at the end of the day, in this journey, the first thing I realized was everything was inside of me. So it had to start from me as a person. That was a very, very big discovery. I mean, I'm saying it just in a few sentences, but the depth of feelings that I went through during that period, it's like your whole life has been taken from the ground and just thrown up, you know? And it just suddenly you see from the past to the current, everything flashing through you. And one feeling that just made me realize, oh gosh, I've wasted so much of my life. So I told myself at that point in time, I took a bit of time. I think you know, Kush. I mean, I went through the course, but at the same time, right? I took time to settle in,
Yes,
to
yes.
actually embed what I learned and actually put it into practice. And I asked myself sometimes, maybe I should have done it long time ago at that point itself. Why did I wait? Well, there could be many reasons, but nevertheless, I realized that having this space for me to reflect on was so powerful. It was very, very powerful, and I started on it. I did not see things immediately simply because it was not coming from inside of me. Even I was not putting that effort as much as I should. What goes around comes around. I keep saying this and I believe in it. But again, am I putting enough? But I was expecting everyone else to help me, everyone else to give me and open doors for me. But again, does that work in reality? Now, I'm telling you, yeah, with all the experience I had in this journey, to me, it is nothing short of amazing. I do have a lot of downs, a lot of downs, but I've learned so many things that help me pick up. I've learned to reach out to people and ask questions. I've learned tools that can make me do things. But again, at the end of the day, it's me, right? I make the difference. So the start of the journey itself made me realize these things. So I had to take some time before I actually jumped on the horse and after that, marched forward. But it did make a difference. It did make a huge difference for me.
And Sita, as you mentioned, you were the first thing that happened with you was actually self-discovery and really getting close to your inner side. So once you actually got close to your inner side, once you got close to who you are, how did you see this evolving in your journey, in your life? What kind of outer changes and outcomes that happened to come your way?
I think one immediately started happening was I started comparing myself. And that sort of gave me a realization. And if you remember, Kush, one of your course is basically to look at, so what's your niche? What's your strength? What's your passion? What do you want to do? You remember we went through that phase of discovery ourselves together as a group. That was a very difficult phase, but actually it made me face my own self. So it made me pause, which was very, very difficult for me. After having that pause, it forced me to face myself. And in that journey, I finally discovered what my niche was. Discovering the niche is one. But the thing is, to sign up to your own niche, it is a humongous effort and it's a humongous mental mindset change for myself because I needed to believe in my own craft. I needed to believe in my own niche. I can't be comparing outside and literally saying it's all general, correct? It's very easy to do that because people are in different stages of their journey. So for me, it was really powerful when I started. Finally, after making all the silly, goofy mistakes and doing all kinds of funny posts, I realized I met people and I realized people were also in the same boat as I am. So that support from this group was amazing. And that made me realize, okay, finally gave me that space and that it calmed a certain amount of my thoughts and gave me an ability to think about my niche. Then when I started building my niche, Hush, I mean, you and I had one-to-ones, I was putting up my hands for your coaching. And I asked literally, there are times I wanted to do this and that, wanted to go to the center, I wanted to go all out, all these crazy things I wanted to do. But at the same time, right, is this really something I wanted? So every time after our conversation, I went back, I actually wrote down, I reflected on it. And from the time I started, my niche has become stronger and stronger and clearer and clearer. And now I'm at the stage where I'm not only learning about it more, talking to people who are experts in that space, and I got that opportunity through LinkedIn as well. And at the same time, talking about my experience to others where it gave a very clear validation of the work I did. So at that point in time, I realized it's not a waste of time. That gave me back so much of confidence, so much of validation, which we all crave for, right, Kush? Sometimes we just need someone to just pat on our back and say, you're doing okay.
That's true.
That's what I got.
And what did it do for you in your life, like in the professional life, in the personal life?
I think in professional, no, I think I can see that in professional life, it started making me curious. I don't have all the answers. And it made me realize that it was okay. And every time I was crafting the post, I was learning and I was experiencing and bringing my experience on board to the post. And at the same time, when I was reading remarks from people, I was able to get validation, verification. And at the same time, some of them even gave me some ideas, which was amazing.
Interesting, very
And
interesting. I think, Sita, I was, of course, when you have people who are doing exactly the same thing that you're doing, and there are there are two ways to look at such journeys, right? When you are on a journey of building a brand which is somewhere measurable and somewhere not measurable, so there are tangibles and there are intangibles. Help me put a little bit of light on your tangibles and intangibles. Like, let's start with tangibles and then we'll go with intangibles.
tangible things, I would go back to LinkedIn. Tangibly, I started seeing people, more of engagements coming in, more people liking. I mean, not too much of the liking, but they appreciate and respond back with engagements. I had offline engagements as well and requests. I can also see that my post being forwarded, that's one of the clear ones. I also could see, direct messages coming to me, asking questions, asking me to connect, and event organizers coming through LinkedIn as well. We've seen something very interesting. Are you willing to talk about this and share your experience with it? So these are some of
I
the, tangibles. Yeah.
I could see that you have uncovered yourself as a speaker as well. I know you're gonna give a talk very soon, and you've given multiple talks already. So how does that feel to be uncovering yourself and addressing an audience and speaking to them?
It's really out of this world experience. One is not only it is allowing me to learn, but it gave me a space where I could share my thoughts and ideas with people. And there were many, many people who were seeking for this help, seeking for ideas and thoughts, and also a platform where I built my craft and I started applying it at work.
Nice. And what I know is you've got more than 300,000 impressions already over the last 1 year, and coming to a point where today you are top 1% of your industry on LinkedIn. This, of course, being on LinkedIn myself, I know how much of these numbers play a role. We change so much as people when we start to where we are that, of course, we don't end up looking at the numbers on day to day, but this is a reflection of how much impact have you started to create on the platform, because 300,000, I'm guessing in another few months you'll be touching 500,000.
We shall see. We shall see.
No, that's commendable. And at the same time, Sita, we saw your engagements growing. We saw your speaking gigs, and as in a speaker, exploring yourself. We saw you even having growth in your connections, which is increasing the size of your community, which went from, if I'm not wrong, about 700 something to
Yes, that's right.
about
Yeah.
3,600. But more than that, I would love to understand what was the top community badge in change actually made you feel, because it's not just a badge, it's actually badge in your category from LinkedIn itself, which you were able to achieve for your profile. So what did that made you feel?
It just multiplied the validation for me, and at the same time, it gave me a lot of confidence, and it made me bring myself. It made me carry myself in a different way altogether. It
And
and also opened up a lot of opportunities. Yeah, a lot of opportunities to speak to industry experts as well. Yeah, it did.
as in
I
talking
spoke
to
to a
them.
lot of change management and transformation industry
Um,
experts.
okay. Okay. So within your industry, you were able to talk to people and leaders.
Absolutely. That's right.
Nice. Sita, you mentioned that the things were very difficult mentally, and using the words, using very distorted during the early phase. But how did it actually made you today? What are you, how are you today, personally, professionally? How do you feel different as a person today?
I have a lot more clarity as compared to before. And to be frank, I won't be completely, I mean, I'm still human, right? So I
Correct.
still go through various thought processes, confusion at times, up and downs are there. But the thing is, I've realized or I've learned things in my journey that allows me to take a step back. And it gives me so much of clarity. So if I take a day's break and I come back, I'm able to come up with so many ideas which was never even in my imagination before, Kush. And ideas that even get me to influence very senior leaders. So, in that sense, they see value that I bring to the table. And I apply it and I implement it. I just don't talk about it. I implement it. And I make it measurable in such a way that to me, this is what I want. This is how I want to measure it. I agree with myself at the start. And then when I go out and talk to people, it is so, so clear because it's not only giving me clarity, but giving my audience or the listeners the clarity they need. And in many situations, Kush, I was able to trigger thought processes, conversations with very senior leaders. And at one point, one of them have a few of them actually has come back to me saying, "Hmm, I think with this we can do this, this, this." So it has helped to develop their level of clarity as well. So
So
my point,
to
I have learned it doesn't have to come from the top; it can come from the bottom. So as an employee, I can help give clarity to my leaders as well. It doesn't have to come from the top all the time.
That's huge, because to come from a point where feeling that sense of not knowing where to go, in other words, probably a crossroad, even though you are in a secure job, but still feeling insecure from within about everything outside, to a point where you can not only have clarity, curiosity, but also give clarity to your senior leaders who are probably in positions which we believe is definitely having much more better approach, but then you can help them see what probably your growth or self discovery towards knowing yourself, getting the sense of validation, getting people to believe in you, leading to you believe in yourself overall. That's good to hear. And of course, we're almost getting towards the end of the episode. So, if I have to, let's just say, if you were to jump on a time machine, and what would the today version of Sita say to the version of Sita at that point of time when she was making that decision? What, when she was just thinking to move to the process, what would those words of wisdom would you give to yourself of that version?
Um, it's a very, very powerful question. I'll have to say one thing that I would like to tell myself at that point in time is you are worth so much more. You are not defined by your job or fears because you bring a unique impact to the world. My advice or my request is to believe in your potential. Embark on that journey. Do not compare, but rather charter your journey because that is what you're made of.
Interesting. And so, as we know, the name of the show is Break Your Barriers. So, one of the most important thing here is breaking barriers. What's that one barrier, Sita, that you broke for yourself over this journey?
I think it's basically self doubt. I believe and I totally attest to it. The self doubt. That is one
Interesting.
barrier that I managed to break, and I'm now getting comfortable of breaking it daily.
Lovely. That's good to hear. And tell me, if you had to look back and you have to pull out some aha moments or moments which made you feel that you're worth more than what you think and which actually gave you that true sense of validation, then what would those few moments be?
There are three particularly I can clearly call out. One is
Okay.
my first speaking gig where,
Okay.
you know, I spoke and everyone literally was pasted so much. And, you know, the eyes was just going so big and the mouth was also open and going so big. Initially, I thought it was literally, oh God, you know, is it something that I'm saying? Am I talking rubbish here? No, but the kind of questions I received and people who came to me saying, oh my God, you just said exactly what I felt. That was one. The second one is I had leaders and colleagues who read my post. Doesn't mean they need to react to it, but nevertheless, people coming on the lift, passing by, who literally say or smile, and I don't know why they are smiling, but at times, you know, when they are brave enough, they are saying, you know, I read your post. Your post is really nice. Gosh, you know, that's another huge pat on the back. And the third one is basically the people seem doubtful of my capability. But you know what? They kept coming back with different things for me to do, to think, to ask my opinion about. So these are three huge things that made me realize, oh my God, something magnificent, something huge has happened.
So I can see people not only watching you, seeing you, but they also started recognizing you. They also started believing in your capabilities more than what they had ever believed, and probably seeing you with a different eye of not just a colleague, but as well as a industry leader or a thought leader who is good at what she does. You felt that in their eyes?
And to be honest, I did tell them I don't have all the answers, but I'm very, very willing to work with you.
So you also garnered the sense of confidence which helped you know that knowing it all is not what is important. It is just about addressing it the right way, with the right feel,
Absolutely.
actually. Lovely. I'm very glad to hear, Sita, that you were able to recognize your own worth. Definitely, I did not, or entire Salt and Pepper family did not change anything in you in respect to your knowledge, which you had for change and transformation. But it was more about how exactly can you really go out and see what the world has to tell you for what you're capable of, and how do they see you in lights that you probably have never seen yourself. And I'm glad you could go through that.
Absolutely. And I really thank everyone in Salt and Pepper, including especially yourself, Kush and Chief. Both of you have been so much so as a pillar that, I could always fall back on. And I really felt that I had people who were supporters. Having that tribe around who not only gave you the safe space to be free, to be yourself, but a safe space to discover and help each other. And that is, even until today, is a powerful thing for me.
And finally, Sita, as we are almost hitting the end, how did all of this, the entire transformation, impact your family life?
Many things, actually, to be very honest, because at that time when I started, there's just so much of emotions that I was carrying, a lot of baggage, and I was not able to. Your family just saw that. I mean, my family just saw I was stressed, I was overworked, I was unhappy, I'm stressed. I mean, I'm most of the time worrying about things, anxiety and all that. But now, look, up and downs are still there. I still go through moments like that. But it has improved how I turn up as a person, how I feel about myself as a person. That emits vibes. People around you feel it. And my kids know at any point in time, Mommy has always done so much. How is she doing so much? Now I want to do so much. They are going through their up and downs as well. And the amazing thing is my husband literally say, Mommy, you know what's best.
So he trusts you for
So
your decisions. Lovely. But at the end of the day, Sita, we come back to one thing with which we started our call and this journey as well. You came to join a new job. Was the whole idea of getting into this was looking out for a new job altogether? So did Sita really wanted a new job? Because she did not get one, right? We didn't get a job. It's still in the same place, same company. So was it the job that you were really looking for, or was it really the clutter that you wanted to declutter?
it was not really a job. It's literally a lot of um, inner discovery, what I truly wanted. I was not able to word it at that point in time. I just saw frustration externally, but I was not able to face myself. So, no, it was not at all. Even now, I would say, look, I have many opportunities that has been given to me. I'm still in the same job, by the way, same job. But who I work with, what I do is evolving. And I'm actually embarking on something really, really big. I don't know what I'm going to or how I'm going to do it yet. I'm planning, working it out. All I told myself is I'm taking one thing at a time, one day at a time. And yeah, I'm waiting to see how far I can scale, how wide I can expose myself. So that itself, there are days where I feel, oh my God, it's just so much work. There are days where I literally feel, oh my God, the passion really takes over. It just takes over no matter what. You just love what you do after that.
I'm glad. Are you happy, Sita?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, I'm able to face myself as a person. And it's still a discovery for me. It's still a journey for me. But now I'm like an explorer. If I don't like
Hmm.
it, okay, I don't need it. But if I like it, now I move on with it, right? But if I have to be in that situation, then now suddenly, automatically my mind is thinking, so what can I do better in that to make me feel happy then?
Interesting. And what would be your final word of wisdom that you would like to give to other professionals who are probably at the same feeling that you were about 2 years ago, and they are equally or more lost, not only from the outside world, but also on the inside, and are at the edge of that cliff of making the decision whether they should be part of this journey, whether they should be part of the inner tribe or not? What would you tell them?
I would say your worth is not defined by your job or your fears or your doubts, but by unique impact that you will then make to the world. So believe in yourself, embrace the journey, and remember that you have the power to transform your reality. The journey is yours alone and is not something you compare with others. LinkedIn made my journey more powerful. It was one vehicle that I had to take on. But at the same time, I found other vehicles that helped my journey during the journey itself, in the journey itself. Be open, be curious, take that step. You don't know what you're going to discover.
Lovely, Sita. I think that was a wonderful word of wisdom to everyone who's going to watch in Moving Down the Lane, the whole episode. And I think it was beautiful to be able to see the transformation that you have also gone through this journey overall. What I love most about getting on this call and having you with us is we change so much from within, you know, that numbers really don't stand anywhere. It is genuinely about how we feel who we are today in terms of contentment, in terms of feeling right about oneself, in terms of not feeling lost, and
Mhm.
instead feeling that you have a path to move forward and motivated every single day. It just makes me feel so incredibly awesome. But thank you so much for being with me and then sharing your journey and sharing from where it was to where it is right now.
You are most welcome, and thank you very much for being there in my journey.
Pleasure is mine. I'm happy to really, really, really be there because I honestly did not know how bad it was for you at that point of time, because just one call is not enough. When we got deeper and deeper, I realized that it was a very, for lack of a better word, dark phase, which I don't see you even close to it anywhere for at least last 1 year. I can tell you, you're already out of it and you're flying and rising high and high and high every single day. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. It really means a lot to me.
Lovely. So let's do a rise and shine together. Yay. Yes, thank you, Sita. Take care of yourself.
Same here, and please do keep in touch.